in any normal situation, isn't it always fool me once, shame on you? Fool me twice, shame on me? So who would be to blame in the situation where police are interviewing Casey Anthony right after she admits that Universal Studios is no longer her employer, when they're still at Universal Studios? And she showed time after time after time to be heartless, to be cruel, to be callous, in my opinion. And the way that she acted, the way that she sounded, the way that she seemed, her non-care attitude is probably one of the biggest things that really caught people's attention, for myself anyways. And we hear this over and over on the 911 call. We hear it over and over. So listen to this interview. This is the interview at Universal Studios right after she admits, I don't work here anymore. I lied to you. They go into a room and then they start recording. So take a listen to this and listen to all the times that Casey could have stopped lying and told the truth, not only for herself, but for her daughter, her mother, her father, her brother, and anybody else that loved Kaylee. Just told the truth. Listen to all the times that she hasn't told the truth, and all the ways that she lied to police and everybody around her. This is what I want you guys to listen to, because it's the in-depth analysis of things, just on, I guess you would say, a generic level, because I'm not a professional, clearly, but just from what I've seen, I mean, what is it that draws people into true crime? For me, it's the not being able to understand how a person could possibly do one thing or two things or three things. But in this case, it snowballs so out of control that you lose count. You lose count of all the lies. Well, here's one situation where you could see her caught in a lie, and she has an opportunity to just confess something, and she continues to just layer lie upon lie. So if we're looking at the criminal psychology type side, not in a professional opinion, but in a personal opinion, you want to know what drives people to do this. How could they possibly do this? Kaylee Anthony was a beautiful baby, and anybody would have been blessed to have her. All the stuff that Casey was put on trial for doing, and for what? All the people you hurt along the way, all the heartache, all the loss, tragedy. This is why, in my opinion, people cannot just let Casey Anthony come back into society, come back into social media. Because a lot of people have described Casey Anthony as a snake. She lied time after time again, and she admits to lying. Probably the only thing. There's no answers for what happened to Kaylee, and sadly we'll probably never know. But to go on and to say you're going to advocate for the daughter that you were charged and tried for unaliving. I hate saying that word. That's what we can't understand. You haven't accepted accountability and said what really happened. And not like we could really believe that anyways. So it's more frustration and anger. And I never met Kaylee. And deep sadness. Trying to understand the minds of people that do stuff like this is what draws a lot of people in to true crime. So instead of going through and doing the whole trial, which is over 30 days, instead of reviewing the trial, I want us to pay attention to the interviews. Because that's the major question. Why did she do this? And what happened? So take a listen to the Universal Studios interview with police. From what I have here is July 16th, 2008. As we try to unpack everything that Casey Anthony has said and claimed when this all happened. So that we can see if there is a reason for anything that she's doing now or then, that we could understand her reasonably doing. I know it is kind of like chasing your own tail, but we're just, for me, it's not being able to understand how somebody could possibly do something so deplorable. And then they want to have the nerve to say they want to advocate for that same child. So as we've been sitting here going over this the past week, it feels like we're just literally chasing our tails. So we're switching over to trying to get our own interpretation of behavioral analysis on what she does, but we're going to use her own words. Here's one part right here. This is the Universal Studios interview. Let's let her tell her story and help us figure out if we hear or see anything that would make us now be okay with her being openly in our orbit. So tomorrow during the live, about 10 o'clock a.m. Central, we're going to go over, I want to show you guys an interview that happened after this one. So this is the Universal Studios one, and then during the live we're going to go over the one that we have the physical video for. As we revisit all the reasons that we're not okay with Casey Anthony being back on social media at all. Well, let's just let Casey tell it herself. So this is Casey Anthony, Universal Studios. And tomorrow we're going to go over the next interview that we have physical video for.